Yeah. Okay. We ready, Maria? Yep, good.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Now we're ready.
We are ready.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Troy City Council Finance Committee meeting. I would ask that you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Keel,
Present.
Councilmember Brosnan,
Present.
Councilmember McLaren,
Present.
Councilmember Vera,
Present.
Councilmember Soriento.
Here.
Councilmember Casey.
Present.
And Council President Steele, also present. This evening, we have the pleasure of hearing from Alan Walther from Bonadio about our 2024 draft audit, as well as from our controller, Michael McNeff, regarding the third quarter financial statements. Mayor, do you want to begin with the opening, or will we jump right in? I would.
Yeah, that's good. All right.
I will be very brief. Thank you. Alan and his folks have done a great job with the 2024 audit. Some of the things Alan will be talking about are things that have been identified prior audits. Alan will talk about that. And Alan will also talk about moving forward in terms of some of the policies. As you know, we hired Mike approximately 6 months ago, Mike McBeth, our new comptroller. And Mike will also talk about, obviously he is still finding his way around with the multitude of accounts, which will be talked about tonight also. So I'll hand it over to Alan. Once again, I want to thank Alan and his Bonadio team. I want to thank Mike, Gabrielle, the comptroller's office. Being audited is, obviously in addition to their 24/7 day-to-day jobs. And they've done a great job, really getting this audit completed. So thank you.
Thank you. I handed out a PowerPoint presentation that summarizes the results of the audit for the year. So the first page of the PowerPoint, the scope of services, we audited the city's financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2024. In conjunction with them, we provide our opinions on your financial statements. In conjunction with that, we also issue a report on internal control and on compliance in accordance with government auditing standards, and we'll talk about that. Required communications, we'll talk about that, and some management letter comments.
Oh, yeah.
The next slide, a summary of the results of the audit for the year. Our opinions on the financial statements, the city's financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2024. The government-wide financial statements, which we'll talk about the difference between the financial statements. That the city receives an adverse opinion on those financial statements. That is the same opinion that you received for the last multitude of years, because the city does not depreciate its capital assets. The governmental funds, the city will be receiving an unmodified opinion on those financial statements. That is the highest level of assurance that we can give on your financial statements. And then the city is also required to report its component units within the city's financial statements, and those the opinion there is a qualified opinion, and that is because the LDC receives a qualified opinion, and that rolls up into the component units. The component units are audited by, other than the land bank, Bonadio audits that the IDA, the LDC, the CRC are audited by other CPAs, and our role with regard to that is to obtain their audit report, incorporate that into our report, and then communicate with them. There were a couple of material weaknesses in internal controls, bless you, Mayor, which we'll talk about. No instances of non-compliance, and I'll repeat the mayor's comments as well, thanking the controller's office, Mike, Gabrielle, Jean, Javi, et cetera, et cetera. An audit is, as the mayor said, a big lift. It's a collaborative effort. We can't audit what's not provided to us. So a big thank you for all the assistance provided. The next slide, just briefly, the highlights of the required communications. No significant new accounting policies were adopted in 2024. Significant estimates were identified and described in the financial statements. Adjustments were agreed to by the city, and the city records will match the audited financial statements. And then finally, no disagreements with management related to any financial accounting, reporting, or auditing matters. The next slide highlights of the financial statements. So the city, as all governments, are required to basically presents two sets of financial statements. Citywide financial statements, and fund level financial statements. Okay. And what the differences are at a very high level, is that the citywide financial statements, is all of your funds combined together, plus your long-term assets, minus your long-term liabilities, all accounted for using the full accrual method of accounting, which means that you recognize assets regardless of when you turn them into cash, and you recognize liabilities regardless of when you pay them out in cash. Okay, so it takes a very long-term look at your finances. Whereas at the fund level, the city uses the modified accrual method of accounting, which is the same method of accounting that you use for your budget, and you're taking at most a 1-year look at your finances. Okay, so two required financial statements presents two different portraits of the city's finances. So the highlights of the financial statements, on slide 6. The first slide here is the statement of net position. This is your citywide financial statement, and it shows a net position as of December 31st, 2024 of $207.3 million. Okay, and the highlights there below that are, what comprises your net position. Current assets totaled $98.5 million. Current assets are predominantly cash, receivables, and some prepaid expenses. Capital assets totaled $440 million. Again, those are not depreciated. So that's the reason why you get an adverse opinion on your financial statements. Those are required to be depreciated. Deferred outflows were $49.6 million. Those flow through from the city's participation in the New York State ERS and PFRS pension plans, as well as your other post-employment benefits plan. Your current liabilities totaled $101.7 million, and those are comprised of predominantly accounts payable, accrued liabilities, and bond anticipation notes payable. And then your long-term liabilities totaled $219 million, which are comprised of other post-employment benefits, bonds payable, pension payable to ERS and PFRS, and compensated absences. And then finally, deferred inflows, which again flow through from the pension plan and the OPEB plan, totaled $60.1 million. The next slide, summarization of the statement of activities. This is a reciprocal statement to the statement of net position, your citywide statement, and this shows a change in net position for 2024 of $30.4 million. And the primary reason for that change is that the city spent approximately $27.7 million on capital projects and capital assets, which at the fund level, those are expenditures. At the citywide level, those get capitalized. So that creates a positive change in that position. The next slide, slide 8, is a summarization of the city's balance sheet for December 31st, 2024. And this is the modified accrual method of accounting the fund level financial statement. The highlight here, your total combined fund balance across all of your funds was a little bit over $5 million. And the breakdown by fund is below. The general fund balance was $19.1 million. Capital Projects Fund has a deficit fund balance of $30.5 million. That should not be a concern of the council because the Capital Projects Fund also has $56.1 million of bond anticipation notes. As those bond anticipation notes are either redeemed from appropriations or converted into long-term debt, you will recognize revenue. Okay, so it's just a quirk of governmental accounting that you show that large deficit in the Capital Projects Fund. The Water Fund showed a fund balance of $9.2 million, and then the non-major funds showed a cumulative fund balance of $7.3 million. Slide 9 is summarization of the statement of revenue, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. Again, at the fund level, the total revenue across all funds was $131.1 million. Expenditures across all funds was $142.1 million. Other sources were $11.9 million. Those other sources are bonds redeemed from appropriations and debt issuances. So the net total change in fund balance across all the funds was $873,000. And then broken down by opinion unit is below. The general fund balance increased $870,000. Capital decreased $384,000. Water increased $468,000, and the non-major funds decreased $81,000. Slide 10, just a couple of other highlights from the financial statements. The general fund showed a net favorable budget versus actual variance of $1.2 million. And your capital projects expenditures totaled $27.1 million for various projects. The next slide is the summarization of our report under governmental auditing standards. We will be issuing our internal audit our internal control report and our compliance report with regard to compliance. There were no findings with regard to internal controls. 2 material weaknesses. The general ledger not reconciled timely, accurately. There were decent number of adjusting entries that we recorded to get the financial statements, in accordance with GAAP, which we've discussed with the controller's office and reconciled the general ledger to the audited financial statements. And then the second comment was with regard to cash reconciliations. Cash reconciliations need to be performed on a more timely basis, and variance is investigated promptly. As the mayor said previously, turnover in the controller's office, Mike's been around since July. We anticipate seeing, significant improvement in the 2025 audit. The next slide is a management letter. So with regard to internal controls, we are required to report to you material weaknesses, significant deficiencies in writing. A management letter, if we see things that we think should come to your attention, we'll bring them to you, but they're less less severe than internal control findings. So that the 2 comments to talk about cash accounts. The city maintains in excess of 50 cash accounts, which, that's part of the reason why it's difficult to reconcile anything, because there's so many of them. So we recommended that, consolidate them to the extent that you can. I believe that the controller's office has already closed maybe a dozen or so in 2025. And then the second comment was with regard to the federal awards. The federal awards, there were some misclassifications of the money. The money comes through from the state, it comes through from Rensselaer County. It's not always that easy to identify what is state aid versus federal aid, but it's very important that the city does identify it accurately, because that helps to develop the schedule of expenditures of federal awards for your federal audit. So just, a comment to just be more cognizant of where the federal money is coming from. And that is the extent of my comments, unless there's any questions from the council.
Alan, could you expand a bit on, let's see, where were we? On page 3, you mentioned qualified statement concerning component units. You referenced the LDC. Could you expand on that, please?
Yes, so included in the financial statements is the LDC, the IDA, CRC, the land bank consolidated together as the city's component units. The LDC audit had a qualified opinion, and because the LDC is relatively significant to the total component units, that qualified opinion caused a qualified opinion on the entire component unit for I'm sorry, on the entire component unit opinion.
And can you expand on why it was qualified?
That was qualified because and again, they came from the other auditors. There was an issue with the valuation of the property, the South Troy property that the LDC holds.
That the National Grid is currently, finalizing the cleanup on. And I think it's not necessarily, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Not necessarily an issue. I think it's just the accounting for, since it's going through the cleanup, how to actually appraise those parcels and how they get accounted for in that LDC's assets.
Thank you. Does any council members have questions for Alan?
Council President,
Councilman Vera.
I guess I have a question about that property. That's the property that's valued at I'm rounding 1.9 million, the King Fuel site.
Yes.
So is the issue that valuation is high, is considered high on the books? Is that why we're
It's
qualifying it? Or it's qualified simply by the very nature that it's being remediated?
Correct. From my understanding, that's the exact reason.
Well, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I did have a question on the, what was it here? Well, the adverse opinion is because, and I think I asked this last year as well. So forgive me, I'm going to need to repeat it, but the capital assets are not being depreciated. And they're valued at 440 million. Is that something that you see in other municipalities, not depreciating capital assets, or is that a relatively unique situation?
You're not entirely unique, because we do see it in others. It's not GAAP. There was a decision made literally 25 years plus ago when the accounting standards changed and required to start depreciation. The city, I'm talking with my hands. I'm sorry. The city, I'll hold it with both hands. The city made a decision many years ago not to depreciate. So as long as those assets are not depreciated, that adverse opinion will remain.
Okay. And you said that when we, on the following page, when we make capital investments, that while the money is seen as an expenditure in a city level account or a fund level account, that it would directly add to that line item for capital assets, right?
Exactly.
So if we spend $30 million on a building, we would see our assets jump $30 million.
Exactly.
Okay, but then we
Exactly.
don't depreciate it over time.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
In your opinion, what would it take to correct that issue? You can be brief, right?
There was, so it would be, it's a very heavy lift, because what it would take is a comprehensive inventory, first and foremost, of getting, there are some records, but it's really just accumulating every year as expenditures get added in. Identifying all the assets and then depreciating them, to what their current value would be.
So it would literally take every building the city owns, any infrastructure the city owns, every water tower, everything, going through,
Every
coming
police
up with
car, fire truck.
today's value for that asset, and then a depreciation schedule for the asset.
Theoretically, even worse than that, not today's value, the historical purchase, that when it was purchased, the historical cost, and then depreciated to
Okay.
today.
Okay.
So it's yeah. Yeah.
That's why no one is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine the lift that would
A
take.
bit of a heavy,
Right.
a heavy lift.
Okay, well, thank you.
Council President?
Are you done?
I am.
Okay. Councilmember McLaren.
Two questions, regarding the cleanup. Once that remediation is finished, do you expect that qualified, rating to go away because the valuation will be as expected?
Correct. And even like mentioned before, it's our intention, the LDC's intention that once the cleanup is finalized, which we should be on track for next year, that, those parcels end up getting sold,
Okay.
are kind of part of the different plan of moving more industry down there, freeing up on the northern end of the river for more development. So,
Great.
and that could provide more accuracy of what the value are. And I would imagine that then that would give the ability to alleviate that qualified opinion.
Okay, thank you. And my other question is regarding this, the adverse opinion. Is that, so if we keep adding to the capital assets that we're not depreciating, does it go past adverse? Is there anything, or is that's just it?
Adverse is
Okay.
as bad as it gets, I guess.
Okay, no, I'm,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
I have a question, I think, for Mike. In terms of the weaknesses in the internal controls, what measures have you implemented since you've been here?
Well, we're trying to get a handle on the front end of the cash. So peeling out the deposits before they hit the ledger, then trying to do the adjusting entries, which has been the case. Because I'm obviously, and we've consolidated the accounts, and plan is to even squeeze those down a lot further. Whether even if we don't drop the number of bank accounts, we'd squeeze them down to fewer cash accounts on the ledger. So we could have several bank accounts with the same cash account code. It'll alleviate or lessen the pain in the reconciliation and ease the entry when you're depositing something. So trying to get a simpler form in place. But what we did, the key will be as we roll into 26 is to get that deputy controller in place and really key on the whole process and revamping that and, identifying the issues at hand.
Okay,
Oh, yes, and we have the new software coming into place in 26 as well, so should aid hopefully as well.
okay. Any other questions,
Council President.
Councilman Farrow?
Just to follow up, not on that topic, on the federal awards, you said in your management letter that you provided, or you identified that certain transactions were not properly classified in the GL, that's general ledger. Is that right?
Yes.
Was that like a workflow issue has since been corrected and those things have been properly classified, or do they remain improperly classified?
Yes, we reclassified them.
Okay. Okay.
As part of the financial statements. It's real, that comment is more, the 2024 is okay. Just going forward, just to be cognizant of federal versus state aid, even if it does come through New York State, oftentimes federal dollars are coming from the state as pass through, just to make sure they're getting them in the correct bucket. They were recorded in the financial statements, really just difference between state aid and federal aid.
So in no way would that have affected, and I don't know who this question's for, but there's 5 of you up there. In no way did that affect any reimbursements from state agencies or anything like that?
No.
Applications to-
Classification, no.
Okay,
Right.
It was simply an internal accounting issue then.
Classification.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from council members? Hearing none. Alan, thank you very much for your,
Thank you.
I'm curious, when will we receive the actual hard copy of an audit?
Next week, yeah.
Within the week?
Yep, yeah,
Okay.
before Thanksgiving. Yep,
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
yep.
And there's Rezzo with you saw it tonight.
I did.
Yep.
Yeah. Safe travels. I don't know if Jeffrey's going back tonight or not. Where are you going? To Syracuse. Thank you, Alan.
Oh, 114 is accepting the audit.
They're on the side. Hey, this one. For the quarterly, it's just a new page one. Count is saving.
I can pass it.
Use of money and property, the interest actually went up.
I apologize.
So you'll see if you could replace page 1 with that.
Thank you.
I give Marina one, so I will get vision. You have one more?
Oh, but this is two sides.
Very big.
It's only one side. Thank you.
I gave Mariana, that's why, for the record.
Mike, do you want to walk us through this, please? Thank you.
Hello? You hear me? Okay. Okay, so this is the third quarter 25 report year over year. We'll start with the first page. It is, they are labeled. Page 1, the general fund revenue. Third quarter. The total operating revenues totaled about 60.5 million. Nope, take that back because we did update that. It's 61 million now. Sorry, old note. The real property taxes, per the analysis, looks like 95% of the city levy has been collected to date, well through 9/30/25. The sales tax is through the second quarter still. I believe we'll get the next payment next month for the third quarter. I believe it comes in December. But that's totaled 12.4, or about a 4.5% increase over same period last year. Our pilots, utility taxes up are combined about 168,000. There's the public safety variance there. Looks like there was a grant, a LETEC grant that was awarded in 24 that we haven't gotten in 25. I don't know if there was any attempt, or I don't know what the process was for that, but that's the main reason for the variance in the public safety numbers. Recreation down about 50 grand year over year. Positive was the skating revenue. Looks like it's generating about $78,000. The marina revenues are up. Golf receipts were down about 80. The use of money and property. So that's the one I did adjust. I apologize. The original one was well off. We are slightly up year over year. We've been trying to be aggressive in as far as keeping monies in the money markets. Short-term rates are very advantageous right now. So it's not a whole lot of lifting needs to be done to get it to generate the maximum amount of return. License and permits, there was a slight increase. Again, hopefully that's reflective of the building permits, or it was in the increase, I'm sorry, it was in building permits, which is reflective of the current year's development that's continued to perform well. Going to move on to page 2.
Are there any questions on this page while we're here? Anyone?
Yeah, Council President.
Councilman Vera?
I think you said 95% of property taxes have been collected.
Yeah, based on the analysis I did, yes.
Okay, so then the difference between 95% and 101 is late taxes or something along those lines that would have been paid this year.
I'm sorry.
Well, because it says percent achieved, if I'm reading that correctly, 101%.
Now that's because, well, that's the post. So the entire levy gets posted in the ledger at the inception of the new budget year.
Oh, so that's not counting cash in hand then?
No.
Okay.
No. So I tried to do somewhat of an analysis to see how it's not going to show anywhere on the report, unfortunately.
Okay,
But it's just kind of given-
we haven't brought in 29.4 million. We've brought in 95% of that number.
Well, 95% of the current levy, yes,
Yep.
that's correct. Yes. But yeah, the uncollectibles, yeah, there's other cash flow that's occurring for the prior year taxes, the uncollected school taxes, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of a tough. So I just tried to put that narrative that it's in line with prior years is the bottom line on.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
And then I saw state aid. We're quite a bit under. Is there a grant or something that we're
No, that's
expecting? to receive, or-
the AIM payment comes in December.
Thank you.
And of course, the ARPA, there'll be one hit, for to do year end when we see where we land for the year, we'll make one post. It's just gonna be one hit to the interfund transfers, and then it'll have one revenue post. So it has zero effect on the bottom line, but just an accounting entry. That's why there's nothing there to date, but we've been spending money all year.
Thank you.
Any other questions on page one? Okay. On to two.
Okay. This is the general fund expenditures through third quarter 25 year over year. I did make the bottom line adjustment, adjust the interfund transfers out just because there's some accounting entries that were in 24 that are hard to roll into third quarter. So to try to match apples to apples, like took that out of the bottom line figure. However, excluding the interfund transfers, the expenditures were 57.5 million. We are performing within budget. Looks like we're at about 75%, which is, 3/4. So we're right in line. They're, the increases we've seen are permanent salaries, which is due to contracts and crudely payouts, separations, the like. That's up about 300,000, but the overall 0.1s are actually down a slight amount, 170,000, when you factor in all the various 0.1 lines there you see at the top. So the salaries overall are down 170,000 year over year. Police overtime is up. We're hopefully are offset by the various grants that are in place for JAG, GIV, and the OVW. Fire department continues to perform well. We're now $1 million under year over year. Apparently the result of filling vacancies that were there in 24. The bigger numbers, as you can see, pension is up 900,000 year over year. That is the actual. We do have the actual billing in place now, so that did factor out 3/4. Through September, taking the two billings from the two because it takes that. I'm sorry, it's the. So there's actually two billings involved, but we just received the billing for the payment that's due February that we hopefully will make a prepaid payment in December. But bottom line, yes, it's up 900,000. Is performing within budget though. Health insurance, another large increase at $1 million. And that as well is performing inside budget. So you prepared well for that. So in summary, health insurance up $1.1 million, pension 900,000, and some contractual, which is up about $500,000. It's due mostly to some judgment and claims, and in the insurance increases. And I believe it's the CAM charges fall into that. They do. So that's also another factor there pushing that number up. Questions?
Questions, anyone on page two?
Question.
Yes, not. We'll move on to page three.
Thank you. Okay, we're on to the water fund revenues. So water fund sales, city water sales, 4.7 at the end of the third quarter. Which constitutes about 85% of the total amount budgeted for. outside community water sales are showing a $1.9 million increase, but that's due in large part to the timing of the billing or ledger entries that are in there from 24. So I believe it was one municipality that rolled into fourth quarter versus third quarter last year. So that's skewed. I believe it was East Greenbush, but apologize, I don't recall. Again, that negative balance we're seeing year over year is due to the large national grid credit that was issued on the charges. Total water revenues are up about 923,000. Again, that's primarily due to the billing of the outside municipalities, the timing of it. So it's kind of tough to get a real gauge on this one. Questions?
Council President.
Councilman Vera.
So you mentioned the $1.9 million jump in outside water sales for the, comparing it year over year. And it seems like we're not far off of target to, 75% of the way through the year, we've collected 70% of the revenue. Do we expect that that's going to be on target for the 7.3 million that was budgeted?
I'd have to give it further analysis, but I'd
Okay.
have to assume so. There's I know the flow rates that were in the last billing were on par. So
Okay. And then I see that city water sales were down about 8% year over year. Is that a trend that we expect to continue? Is there any reason for that?
I honestly don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
I don't know what's the people. It's kind of hard to identify why the flow rates are what they are,
Yeah, maybe people are just using less water, right? But I guess where my follow-up question to that would be, are we recognizing revenue on this line item like we are for property taxes? Are we recognizing revenue when the bill goes out, or are we recognizing revenue on this? And that goes for all lines on this. Are we recognizing when it was cash in hand?
No, this is actual billing.
So when the bill
So-
goes
so
out,
this is-
we
yeah, so it's-
recognize the revenue whether
So yeah,
it's
because
paid
it's
or
off
not.
actual readings. So yeah. Does that
Okay.
answer your question?
It does. It
I'm
means that-
not that well versed, so I apologize. The little nuances on the various billings we have here, but obviously it's based off of rating. Everybody's on a meter, so.
No, what I mean.
It's not the same as the real property or with BAM. We're just hitting.
No. I understand how a water bill is generated. What I mean is the numbers that I'm looking at here, the $4.6 million we say is revenue for city water sales. Is that $4.6 million worth of bills that went out the door, or
The-
$4.6 million
cash. No,
that
I
came
don't
in the
know.
door?
Yeah, no, that's billed.
That's billed.
That's billed.
That's a whole different world.
Yeah, so then
Correct.
revenue is most likely less than what we're looking at on this then, because not everybody pays their water bill in a timely fashion.
Correct. I guess it's a fair statement. I'm assuming, but it does roll into a re-levy. Yeah, but it's cash flow. Yeah, I mean, if we're measuring cash flow, it's absolutely correct.
Do we have that number? Do we know what
I'm sure we could run something on what's been collected to date
Yeah,
on
is
the, on,
there
on the
is there a
current
way to
billing.
generate that in the future when we're looking at these reports, actual cash in hand?
I haven't been in the system well enough.
Okay,
to
okay.
Give you a fair answer to that, but there must be.
Okay, but you're confident that that is the bills that went out the door? Right.
I'm fairly confident. I'm sorry.
No,
Unless
that's
somebody can correct me. It has to be. There's no other way to get a number that's going to generate to the ledger post there. So.
okay.
Council President Steele?
Councilman Casey.
I'm not sure if you would know this. Does anybody know historically, based on the billing, the percentage approximate of people who do pay? I know it's put on your property taxes if you don't pay, but I mean, is there anybody know historically?
I don't know. I don't
billed
have that
versus-
number right now. So
Yeah, I would assume it's pretty high, but. Okay, thank
But
you.
we can, I mean, we can look at whether, see what's going on to re-levy would be the simplest formula, I assume.
Any other questions? Okay. Moving on to page 4.
Water fund expenditures, third quarter. It's like overall expenditures are up 4% or about 420,000. Major contributor is well, it's kind of spread out. We have the salaries, which are an obvious, well, I should say obvious, salaries up per contracts and the like. It's like material and supplies were up 170. The one highlight is workers' comp was down 95. There was a big claim, I say big claim, a relatively big claim against a number of about 75 in 2024. Questions?
Any questions, council? All right, let's move on to 5.
Okay, sewer revenues, I'm sorry. Third quarter 25. Now the report's showing a $520,000 change overall in the sewer rents. That's due to a billing cycle change. I believe bills that were normally mailed in December were pushed into January. So there'll be an adjusting entry before year end to get that back into sync. But so I don't know what that amount was, give you a fair assessment there. Questions?
Any questions from the council? Let's move on to 6 then.
Well, actually, yeah, sorry. I do have a question.
Okay.
So water sales are down 8%. Am I reading this correct? Sewer rents up 18%?
Again, there's the sewer billing.
Yeah, but I thought it was bills hadn't gone out, not bills did go out, right?
The sewer billing, I believe they changed the cycle from what I talked. They're the same timing. Oh. Okay.
So those are based on the same meter reading.
So we got. Yeah, I'd have to provide further analysis on that.
Could you guys take both the water and the sewer? Could you take a look at that?
Yeah.
So just to recap, the actual revenue received, if, do the best you can to pull those numbers.
Right.
And then an explanation as to why water.
Yeah, I just get to see what
Yeah.
the billing cycle is here and what did and didn't go out. But that's one bill. I apologize. I'm not that well versed in
No,
the nuances.
no need to
there, but-
apologize. I just information I'd like to have.
Any other questions?
Okay,
Moving on to
Move on.
6, please.
sewer fund expenditures, third quarter 25. Now, the bottom line, I did take out the interfund transfers again because it looks like it was a fourth quarter adjusting entry made in 24. So I didn't have enough information to split that out to 3 quarters. So that being said, expenditures were up slightly, looks like 160,000. Salaries slightly up 5%, assuming that's contractual. Material and supplies, but they had a decrease, which is a good thing. Contractual is up about 100,000. So the contributing factors to the 165 looks like consulting, salaries, and the health insurance. It's the case in all funds for the most part. Questions?
What's the consulting in the sewer fund?
You have a question?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Council President.
Councilmember McLaren.
What would the consultant services be in the sewer?
I was afraid you're gonna ask that. I don't have that information in hand.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's what, yeah, I think they had the sewer. Yeah. That's the
Expenditure.
expenditures. Yeah, no, it was, I did see a lot of CDM Smith in the ledger.
Page 7.
CL Fund, third quarter 2025 revenue. We're all aware of what's in this. That's comprised of garbage fees, violations, bulk pickup, hauler permits. Revenues are recognized as they're billed, not as collected. So what's posted to date is a slight increase, 13,000 plus, slight increase. Again, this is what's been billed. The revenues are slightly off year over year based on what's been billed to date. Looks like the interfund transfers are the reason for that. I'd have to, I don't know what has or hasn't been billed. I'm sorry, booked in respect to the interfund transfers. It takes a little bit of an analysis. Bottom line is we'll tie them all out by year end based on what's in the budget. That's why these interim reports are tough to really present. And mind you, this is unaudited as well, so. Any questions?
Council President.
Councilman Vera.
I understand it's a minor item, but the permits, would we refund $400 in permits? And then I guess the other question is, are we not charging for permits?
I honestly don't know what's in.
Isn't $400, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that the permit fee for a private hauler per truck? So we budgeted 30,000 in permits and we haven't collected anything throughout the year. In fact, we refunded $400.
Yeah, I mean, that's just to, because that's something that I know even on our end to try to look
at the
into,
ledger.
you know, with the hauler permits, that's something that we recognize. It's always a little off on when it comes in. I mean, to your point there too, the refund and how it's exactly recognized, even how the whole, you know, are we charging the right permit fee, you know, comparative to other places? I think it's kind of also it's kind of done on the honor system as well, which isn't tied to your exact question, but just to put out there, that's something that we wanted to look into. But yeah, that's very odd and something we have to look, that's something that we plan to look into and can follow up with.
Yeah, hopefully, maybe it's just dropping in the wrong bucket when it's posting. There's a myriad of accounts to literally crawl through to see what's posting where and why.
Just to add to that, as the auditor mentioned, and, you know, we know, we've been told multiple times, between BST, Bonadio and others, the multiple number of accounts, it is very complicated unless you've been here 15, 20 years, where to find things. So we have to condense that, and it's going to be a huge priority.
Okay. Anything else? Move on to 8. We finish it. We're done?
No, we haven't looked at it yet.
Hmm?
We didn't look at it yet.
Want to move on, Mike?
Sure.
8, please.
ACL fund expenditures third quarter 2025 year over year. Expenditures totaled about 3.7, but that's down 130,000. Salaries are half of that, which is a nice sign. Consulting services, I couldn't tell you what's in the number. I should have, well, that's a significant amount. So I'm guessing someone's gonna have a question on that. Let me look into it. But that's the gist of the swing there. So it's consultant services and salaries making up, 90% of that variance year over year. Overtime was up slightly, but I believe there's been additional pickups that have been added in 25 to account for that. Questions?
Anyone have any questions from the council? Thank you, Michael.
Thank
for-
you.
For this. Just a comment, if I could. We're used to seeing a report with some footnotes and some narratives. Is that your plan going forward, I hope?
Yeah, it was a tight schedule here getting the audit complete, so this is but we can definitely get you your report. The narrative, that takes some time. That's a crawl down. I don't want to commit to it, but we'll definitely get you quarterly reports on a timely basis.
So the reason this was late to us is because of the audit? Is that what you're saying?
Well, also, yeah, I would say it's a fair assessment. The audit is a heavy lift. There's a lot of work involved, and these I'm, the interim reports are a tough, heavy lift, especially when you're new to the gig. And to crawl through and get an understanding of what's populating these various buckets and then try to give an assessment of such. So going forward, hope they'll get more versed. They will provide you with some more information.
Mike,
Thank you.
on that note, though, in 2023, the prior comptroller delivered Q3 in November. So as you know, I mean, if we have to change the charter, Andy and I did talk about this. Generally, the charter was 2 months ahead of each quarterly. If you notice, the charter actually says the fourth quarter be done in December. We all know that that's impossible because the sales tax doesn't come in until March of the following year. But the charter was never changed. So we never did that. Andy and I talked about it. But in 2023 and prior years, Andy, who, you know, I valued as a good comptroller, very timely. We had a good working relationship, delivered the report in November. So it generally has been 2 months after that charter required. And we had talked about changing that, so it might be something.
Let's
that-
add that
yeah,
to the list.
Yeah, seriously. And
Right.
we talked about it and we just never got to it. So, you
Perhaps
know,
that's something we should
yeah.
look at.
I
Thank you.
think what Andy and I had talked about, we didn't honestly change it because of that December and you'd be going into a term of another council. So I'm not sure how you kind of get over that hump that the fourth quarter is actually not delivered to the present council. It's the next council. So we'll just have to legally, you know, talk to Rick about that.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Thank you again.
Thank you. Mine was asleep. I know.
Got my water.
Yeah, with my teeth.
Is it hot here or is it me?
I was hot, but now I'm chilly.
Are you hot?
Oh, yeah.
You could put it up a bit. I know, I know, I know. I dressed for the usual chill
Mhm.
and now I'm hot. Don't you sneeze.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Mom.
Thank you, Maria. Thanks, Tom. At this point in our agenda, we have the public forum. This is an opportunity for anyone in the audience who has a comment on our agenda this evening. We have several ordinances, resolutions. Does anyone wish to address us on any of the items on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on. Oh, no, we do have someone. Thank you.
Evening. Noreen McKee on.
You'll have to speak right into the mic. It's a tough
Yeah,
one.
This is
Or you can take it off. if it's
Noreen
easier.
McKee,
Thank you.
2nd Street in Troy. I just have one comment in terms of the notices of claims for the delinquent CAM charges and the rent in the amount of 1.4 million. I would just like to get clarification on what the city will end up paying for the alleged breach of contract in the amount of 1.4 million. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to address the council on any agenda item? Seeing none, we'll move on. Ordinance 58. Ordinance amending the 2025 general fund budget at the request of the administration, Councilmember Casey. Is there a motion? Councilmember Brosnan with a second by Councilmember Keel. Discussion on the ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 59. Ordinance authorizing settlement of claims to wit First Columbia 433 River Street LLC versus the City of Troy, New York, City of Troy, file number 2025-03 and 2025-15. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Keel. Discussion.
Council President,
Councilmember Soriento.
can I ask Rick to come up? Hi.
Hi.
So with the whole pilot, can you just explain why we're adding that in on top of resolving the, whatever, amount we actually owe? What's,
It's a way of settling the claim that benefits both the city and First Columbia, given the current commercial real estate market in the city moving out of the building, and the full-time job equivalents that are required under the current pilot. So they have an application. I don't think it's fully submitted yet to the Troy IDA, but I think the IDA is considering started to consider the matter today at its meeting about whether or not to extend the pilot agreement for 10 years. I think I detailed it in the menu, in the memo. So yeah, it involves no cash outlay from the city other than the $184,000 or not $134,000 in camp charges.
okay. All right.
But that is actually conditional on IDA approval. I mean, we're hopeful that they'll approve it, but if they don't, they don't.
Okay. All right. I think I got it.
Okay.
I'm glad you got it because I don't got
I
it.
think
I
I
really,
just gotta
I'm
absorb
very
what he said.
confused as to how we can preempt and predict the actions of another body in the city and make that part of a settlement agreement.
So if the IDA does not approve the amendment, then the parties reserve all rights. I said that in the memo.
Right, I understand
And
that.
that
but-
means we just go back and fight it out in court.
Can you answer the question that was raised? You said the only outlay of money will be the 134,000 in the
Correct.
city,
That's correct.
that the 1.4 million is
There's-
off the table.
There's no outlay from the city. The 134,000 in 2024, unpaid 2024 CAM charges is the only financial detriment to the city budget.
And sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead,
And
Councilmember
the
Soriento.
IDA, and we're looking for the IDA to pay for the rest of the agreement, the settlement.
The IDA doesn't pay for anything, okay? I mean, the settlement agreement was, how to explain it exactly? This building is an important component of, okay. This building is an important historical and physical component of our cityscape. It has been under stress for the past, since COVID anyways, right? Trying to get tenants and has been unable to fill all its usable space. With the city moving out, that's another blow, regardless of whether or not there was, they think there was a breach of contract. I do not, but
Okay.
that's a
Okay.
different question, okay? All right, so as a way of resolving this matter, we entered into discussions about, well, how can we make this building successful with us gone? And in addition, not have an outlay of the money, but support the development. Kevin Betty's team has developed a lot of properties in this area. And frankly, more than one is under stress. They wanted us to consider a bunch more. We did not. We only considered this building
Okay.
because this was the building that the dispute was centered on.
Yep.
But we think it's a pretty fair resolution. And we think it's okay. I mean, as a matter of fact, he would be applying for an amendment to the current pilot agreement, even without this settlement, whether it would be exactly the same shape or form or under the same circumstances. This is a twofer for us.
Okay.
It's still, if Rick hit the nail on the head too, is that the way that you can still look at it is that although there may have been disagreements, I think we can all agree, we still want to see this crucial historical large building still thrive. We want to still see it provide the appropriate employment and jobs, which is exactly why the IDA entertains pilots for anybody that the city had a dispute or didn't have a dispute with. So.
And the IDA is not bound by this settlement agreement. It will make its own decision.
Okay.
That clear for
Yeah.
everyone?
To me it is.
Council President.
Councilman Farrer.
So both settlements are tied up in this one ordinance, the CAM charges and the alleged improper termination of the lease.
That's correct. That's correct.
And both of these went to 50H hearings.
Yes.
So am I correct in assuming that the outcome of those 50H hearings was favorable to what would you call them, the claimant?
No, you would not be correct.
But we're here with a settlement.
Yes, we are. It for all the reasons that we settle cases. A 50H hearing, reason you're not correct is a 50H hearing doesn't decide anything. It is simply an opportunity for the city to examine a claimant and get an idea, get a much more detailed idea of what their claim is, its scope, and what they're relying on. Well,
So then what was the outcome of that? Or was there?
the
a
outcome of
determination?
a 50H hearing is the transcript.
Okay.
That's all it is. It's just, it's the same as the deposition and litigation.
All right.
There's no judge in a 50H hearing.
And then I mean, I read the rest of this ordinance. There's nothing in here that the council, I guess in your opinion, by passing this ordinance, is the council urging the IDA to approve this? I mean, by its very nature, we must, right?
But I would say that's a fair inference, and
Okay.
the city is agreeing to support I mean, it says right in there, the city is supporting the application to the IDA.
All right, thank
And
you.
we think it's a good thing for the city. Really.
If there were no dispute, there'd be no need to settle the claim. So I think we're kind of parsing words here. But at any rate, we have we have a settlement before us.
You might be partly right. If Mr. Betty accepted our notice of termination, there would be much less of a.
And if
dispute
we had
than
paid our rent, then we wouldn't have had to do, and we paid our cam
We-
charges.
We paid our rent throughout.
We didn't pay our cam charges,
We
excuse me.
paid our rent throughout 2024.
They were part
We
of it.
didn't pay, we paid the camp charges that we thought we owed in 2024. The amount that we've agreed is a liquidated amount without interest or penalty.
It's what we owed though.
It's what they say we owed if we had paid what they said we owed on time.
Councilman President.
Touch back on what you were saying, if everything went perfectly and the city followed everything perfectly and we left anyway, there's a very high likelihood the amendment to the IDA would be coming anyway.
I
And
agree.
the IDA would definitely be looking into it because the IDA is judged based off of how many full-time employees by percentage are there. So it would be beneficial for the IDA to entertain this regardless of this litigation, potential litigation.
Councilman
Council, Casey.
I think those CAM charges that I think even predated myself being on the council, this had been going on prior. But it just seems like there was a dispute. It just seems like any other dispute. One side claims one thing, one side claims the other, and they just came to agreement. And it does really seem like a good agreement that we're leaving, but you're taking steps to make sure that the building's viable. And this is a pretty important building right in the downtown. And it seems like it seems like a reasonable solution. Two sides disagreed, and you came to what I see to be a pretty good solution for both sides.
I think it's as close to a win-win as you can get in general.
Yeah, Council President.
Councilman Vera.
No, these CAM charges originate from the lease that this council entertained in mid-24, right?
That's correct.
Right. So I don't remember with the exact month, but we approved a new lease agreement that I think
You
was
approved
it
it,
back
you approved it in July of 24.
July of 24, and it was backdated to January 1st of 24.
It was effective January 1st of 24.
Right. So in July, when we signed the lease, what became due were allegedly CAM charges since January,
Correct.
elevated CAM charges that seemed
Significant,
like-
substantially elevated.
right,
I think they were 4 times greater, maybe?
right. CAM charges that we've paid for this year, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The lease hasn't been modified though, since,
The lease has not been modified. There is a provision in the lease about notice of the CAM charges. And so yeah, I mean, there was a provision in the lease about when the landlord had to give notice of an increase in the CAM charges, and that was a part of the dispute. Whether that notice had been properly given or not.
and so I guess the way I understood this, until I, saw this agenda, from our last meeting, was that these were two separate settlements, but these are intertwined. It's one settlement.
It's one settlement for all the disputes between the parties. And after this, the parties are even agreeing not to disparage one another.
Yeah, no further questions.
Does any council member have any further questions? All right, we're ready to vote. All in favor? Opposed?
No.
And there's one recusal. I'm a member of the IDA, so it's not appropriate for me to vote at this time. I wouldn't want my vote to in any way influence the IDA.
511.
What's your, yes?
Yeah.
511. Okay, moving on to ordinance 6, ordinance amending the 2025 general fund budget. Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration, is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, seconded by
Second.
Councilmember Brosnan.
Okay, you got it.
Discussion on the ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 61. Ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Collar City Auctions, Inc. for auctioneer services. Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Keel. Discussion on the ordinance?
Council President,
Councilman Vera.
are these Are these services for the property on Pauling?
It's for surplus property, so like
Oh, okay.
items that we bring to you
Oh, okay.
to declare surplus.
Oh, I apologize. That was in the memo. This was the same entity though that was running that auction, correct? Oh.
Apologize for the numbering error. That would be my office, but yes, was my mistake. And
All right, so
I'll
it's not ordinance, it's 61. It's
so it would
it's a
be-
resolution.
Can we make it, I would ask the council to amend it and make it resolution one. Resolution 115.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion to amend, all in favor? Opposed? On the amended resolution? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, ordinance, so this is ordinance 61. Ordinance 61, ordinance authorizing settlement of claim to wit 7 Troy LLC. What?
I apologize. No, they're all numbered incorrectly. Never mind. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, no, it's numbered incorrectly on the. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Ordinance 61, ordinance authorizing settlement of claim to wit 7 Troy LLC. The City of Troy, New York et al., Rensselaer County Supreme Court Index number E 2025-279-407. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel, second.
Second.
Councilmember Brosnan, discussion. All in favor? Opposed? And moving on to resolutions, resolution 111, resolution appointing commissioners of deeds for the city of Troy, Council President Steele, the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, seconded by
Second.
Councilmember McLaren.
I apologize. That should not be at the request of the administration. Commissioner deeds are by the council.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 112, resolution of the Troy City Council approving and endorsing the application of the Troy Community Land Bank to New York State Homes and Community Renewal for funding under the Move in New York program. Councilmember Casey, Councilmember Brosnan, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren with a second by Councilmember Soriento. Discussion?
Council President Steele.
Councilmember Casey.
I just want to say, because they're here tonight, I just want to again thank the members of the Land Bank for the work they do. They're doing just a great job, and thank you.
Shout out to Brad and Paul. Thank you.
Council President, and you all took one of my first lines here. I do want to say thankful for Brad and Paul Donnelly here. Thanks for sitting through the meeting. The land bank, as many of you have seen, has really been revived executive director, revised team, revived board. And this is just another example of some great work that this organization is doing. I think we can all agree that the goal is to get people into home ownership. And this comes with, credit ready buyers, gives these folks a first opportunity to own a home. That will make sure that these parcels in a tight partnership with the city fit into the character of the neighborhood. I know that the executive director and some board members went out, got a full demo of what this program is out in Schenectady. And I know that we feel really confident, in securing this grant with everybody's support. So we really thank you. I'm serve on the board of the land bank as well. If I know Brad and Paul are here, if anybody has any questions for them, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to answer them. But this is a really great way to get people into home ownership, alleviate a vacant lot that the city owns, increase the tax base. These folks will be paying property taxes. And just like a lot of the different housing that we talk about out there, it's really geared towards workforce type housing that we refer to, but with home ownership. I mean, you're talking about folks that an individual would qualify for this program, that makes anywhere from, $56,000 a year up to $100,000 a year. So, and with fitting in with the land bank's existing guidelines. So again, really great job to these guys behind me, Paul and Brad and the board, really working on this. It's one of many initiatives that the land bank's doing. It's another example of the land bank and the city working hand in hand as you see the different firefighter trainings that go on and the red X is getting removed. There's a lot of examples. I know you're seeing a lot of that activity. So, thanks a lot to these guys for really getting this organization back up and running and becoming fulfilling its mission and really being the tool that is needed here in the city. So, but again, if any council members had questions for Brad or Paul, they are here and they'd be more than happy to answer.
Council President,
Councilmember Keel.
a question for Brad. Just wanted to know, when you take in a parcel, how long before it goes from take in to sell? I'm just curious.
For the cross mod program specifically?
Well, just in general, all your properties.
So the land bank in the last couple of years hasn't taken in many properties at all. We're about to close on our first one since I took over.
Okay.
So we've only been selling right now. Once our properties are under contract, it's taken probably 2 or 3 months for them to sell. So it is a little slower than traditional real estate sales. And that's largely because of the extra enforcement mechanisms we put on the restrictions we put on the deeds and the lawyers trying to make sure that they feel safe with closing with those restrictions.
Okay. Thank you.
Council President,
Councilmember McLaren.
can you talk about the timeline for the CrossMod project? It says applications are on a rolling basis. So do you receive the funding once your application has been accepted, or do you have to wait until it closes? And
so I plan to apply next week if this resolution passes. If they approve the application, then we'll start doing the pre-development work. We will also have to acquire the properties, from the city, the vacant lots that you guys have that have been foreclosed. And HCR wants to see this done in 5 months, 6 months. CrossMod is a cross between mobile homes and modular, that they're built in a warehouse. They actually drive them on a trailer to the site. They back them up and then take the tires off and put them on a foundation. So it's not quite like the cranes that we did with Habitat on Park Avenue, where we crane them into place. They actually drive them into place. So it limits the sites. They're looking to have it done in 5-6 months. So of course we'll have to have the sites and we'll have to do lot line adjustments on certain ones, but otherwise the state actually gives us a interest-free line of credit. And then upon the sale of the buildings to the homeowners, we give them the money from the sale and they forgive all the difference from the construction in a grant to us that we then apply to the homeowner. So it's really largely free for the city. And then they give the land bank, I think it's 6% back. So if we get $3 million in 10 sites, the land bank will get 180,000 that we can use towards some dilapidated structures that we might acquire, like the one I was just talking about.
Yeah. Wow. So I mean, realistically, we could be talking like, next summer where
That's the
people are in
idea.
houses.
That's the
Wow.
idea, is that people, can start, applying to buy them at that point.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
And Council President,
Councilmember Gill.
one more question for you, Brett. What brand or what company are you using to obtain these modular homes?
So I believe the modular builder, or the mobile home builder, modular cross mod builder, was Champion Homes, or
Mhm.
Titan is their subsidiary for
Okay.
this.
Yep.
But being that the land bank's a public authority, we actually have to do a mini bid process.
Okay.
They're pre-selected by the state, the people who the state's willing to go into contract with based on meeting HUD guidelines and that sort of stuff. The mini bid process has to be approved by the board on who we select. We actually become a reseller of the homes, so that we actually are selling real property. It turns into real property when we sell it, but we're actually selling a mobile home that turns into real property. So the land bank's gonna have to do their own resolution to become a reseller of these. So there's a lot of hoops that gotta go through it. Plus, the council has to approve the lots for the program as well. So
Yep.
the state has to approve the lots that have to go through. So we're excited about it, and we're just hopeful that everything falls into place.
Thank you.
Council President.
Councilman Vera.
These meet the same building codes and energy codes as either like a stick frame or a traditional modular.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so they're not mobile homes in the sense of building code or energy code.
Yeah, and I believe that's in the Q and A section of the resolution documents, that they're built the same way as a modular, and they're just on a frame that's transported via car or truck, really. I mean, axle is transported via axle, and the axle becomes a steel frame that's set on the foundation.
So it's like a modular home that's like a single box.
Yeah, and you don't need a crane.
Yeah.
These are 1,500 square foot homes. I know I've heard it said that they might be tiny homes. They're actually 1,500 square feet, 3-4 bedrooms. And so the ones we toured in Schenectady actually were 2 trailers side by side. And then there's a crawl space underneath, basically. Right. Once they're there, they don't move. And when we transfer the title, we're transferring real property and not a mobile home.
You're setting them on a poured in place then foundation or block foundation of some sort?
I believe we're not actually, when we procure this, it's going to be entirely the builder who does the site work.
Okay.
And the state pays us to pay them
Yeah.
essentially with this 0 interest loan. But they'll never move. They're not mobile homes. They're cross mod.
Oh, I
Yeah.
understand.
Just making sure.
Foundated. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the foundation is in Schenectady was block, and it was poured on probably an Alaskan slab is what I guessed.
Mhm.
The electric and sewer and water come up underneath. And then when they back the trailer in, then they do the foundation and pull the tires and
Gotcha.
yeah. Right. Yep. So, obviously we'll comply with all, permitting and zoning rules and setback rules. And I think that's in the resolution as well, is that, pending all of the lot lines have to be appropriate.
That wasn't my question.
Yeah. well, It just,
No, it was just, I didn't know. I was under the impression that the homes, like different types of homes have different building codes. And this is to that higher standard. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Brad. Appreciate it.
Good.
All in favor?
I
Opposed? Resolution 113, resolution accepting a grant from the New York State Local Government Records Management Improvement Fund for local government records management, and authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city to enter into a contract with K. Sickler Murphy Records Management Consultants to review, analyze, inventory, and properly dispose of certain inactive records. Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration, is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, with a second by Councilmember Soriento. Discussion?
Council
On-
President.
Councilmember McLaren.
The grant deadline? Is December 31st? Does that mean that that's when the work has to be done?
No, that's when the application has to be fully submitted. I
Okay.
believe.
So
Well,
my,
you know what? I might be misspeaking there. What? You already have the- Oh, okay. I think the work has to be done, but you can get a reasonable extension. Whatever.
well, yeah, we saw the letter that someone had fallen ill and
Correct,
Okay.
yes. But the work has to be done and again, you can apply for an extension, but the expectation is that it will be completed by that date.
okay. I don't know if I'm correct, but I'm guessing that we're consolidating these things so that they don't have to be moved. Or, getting rid of records so that they don't have to be moved. Or it's just time.
It's time. I think records that they have to inventory records. They have to archive certain ones.
Mhm.
They can flag some for disposal. It's a fairly intricate process.
So is this something that's done every certain number of years?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Oh,
believe
okay.
it's done to a certain extent, depending on when the state. It's kind of grant specific.
Depending on
So-
when they offer the grants is when
Correct.
you can take advantage of it
Correct.
and perform this process. Okay, thank you.
In this case, we just have the problem because the previous vendor.
Yeah, gotcha. Thank you.
Council President.
Councilmember Vera.
I think I read in there, are we digitizing these as well? I understand they're going to go through them and find, but I thought I saw something in there of scanning and maybe I misinterpreted scanning as like reviewing or something.
No, I think just keeping a log,
Oh,
like
okay.
an Excel.
So this isn't, we're not moving like these records to like a paperless storage system.
No,
Okay.
no, the records have to be kept. The ones that are the historic archived records
Right,
have to
okay.
be kept, and then there's some that can be destroyed, and they're going through
Okay.
what records, which is which.
But even the ones that are being destroyed, we're not scanning them to keep them. They're destroyed.
They're going to be destroyed. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Resolution 114, resolution accepting the 2024 financial statement audit, single audit of federal expenditures, and single audit of the New York State Department of Transportation expenditures as prepared by the Bonadio Group. Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration, is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, seconded by
Second.
Councilmember McLaren. Discussion on resolution 114. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That concludes our Finance Committee agenda. Is there anyone who wants to address the council on any item not on the agenda? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion by Councilmember Soriento, seconded by Councilmember Brosnan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. We want to go right into the special? Yeah, okay. We'll move right on with our special meeting this evening. We've pledged allegiance to the flag. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Keel,
Present.
Councilmember Brosnan,
Present.
Councilmember Span McLaren,
Present.
Councilmember Vera,
Present.
Councilmember Soriento.
Here.
Councilmember Casey,
Present.
Council President Steele,
Present.
all are present.
Thank you. This evening, we have several items that you have seen recently, moments ago. 3 ordinances, 2 resolutions. Ordinance 59.
Ordinance 59, ordinance authorizing settlement of claims to wit versus Columbia 433 River Street LLC versus City of Troy, New York, City of Troy file NOS 2025-03. On 2025-15, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the resolution, on the ordinance? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
And one recusal. 5-1-1. I forgot to note that we have a public forum that's open to anyone who wishes to speak on any agenda item. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on any of the items? They're the same as what was
Right.
previously covered in finance, but do want to give everyone the opportunity. Okay, we'll move along. Ordinance 60.
Ordinance 60, ordinance amending the 2025 general fund budget at the request of the administration. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
There a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan with a second by Councilmember Soriento. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 60 passes,
Ordinance 62.
which is now
Resolution.
Resolution 115.
Okay.
Oh.
So we will
Do that after.
move that along to resolution 112.
Okay.
Ordinance 62 is now 61.
No, I mean, they technically didn't amend it, so I mean, we didn't have to if we didn't technically have to. Huh?
I believe we just
Yeah,
skipped the
we
number.
just
I
skipped
believe
it.
that is what we did.
Well, 61 was never on the special, so I asked earlier if anybody wanted to put it on the special. Nobody answered me. So. Okay,
Following soon.
Ordinance 62. Is that correct? Or is it ordinance?
which one was renumbered, guys?
So 61 got changed. 62 should be renumbered to 61. That's what we're talking about.
And then 115 will be considered at a later date. Okay, ordinance 61, ordinance whoops, your job.
So which one am I doing?
62, but it's numbered to 61 now.
Ordinance 61, ordinance authorizing settlement to claim to wit 7 Troy LLC versus the City of Troy, New York, and all Rensselaer County Supreme Court Index Number EF 2025-279407. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Vera. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 61 passes.
Resolution 112.
Resolution 112, resolution of the Troy City Council approving and endorsing the application of the Troy Community Land Bank to New York State Homes and Community Renewal for funding under the Move in New York program. Councilmember Casey, Councilmember Brazen at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Councilmember McLaren, second. By Councilmember Soriento. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 112 passes.
Resolution 114.
Resolution 114, resolution accepting the 2024 financial statement audit, single audit of federal expenditures and single audit of New York State Department of Transportation expenditures as prepared by the Bonadio Group. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Councilmember Keel, seconded by Councilmember Soriento. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 114 passes.
At this point of the evening, we have a public forum on any item that you wish to discuss. If anyone wishes to say anything, feel free to come forward. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, seconded by Councilmember Keel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Now, this evening is also supposed to be when we meet and review changes to the budget. Mike, did anyone submit any changes? No? Okay. then I guess we will not be meeting on any changes. Thank you all. Have a good evening.